Hey, welcome to Ask Joe. How you doing? I'm Joe. Nice to meet you. I want to thank you so much for watching today. I got to be honest, this was something that came together in the last couple days. So I'm here with some friends from the Ball Square area, and I just wanted to tell you a little bit about why we're here. I am a Ball Square resident. I was married here. I had my kid here, who's in high school. Such an amazing kid, and we've been through the Somerville education system as well, and I'm also a home-based business. And so what I'm finding is that every day my relationship to our community just grows stronger and stronger. Last year I decided that Somerville was going to be my priority, and then this year I decided even more so with the bridge closings to want to focus myself a little bit more in my neighborhood, and that made Ball Square the priority. I know we have a lot of stuff going on with the construction all over the city. That's why I brought my guests. I have Lauren Drago from the city of Somerville.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Lauren Drago. I have been living in Somerville since 2012. And I am so lucky to be able to work for the city. I actually fell in love with urban planning as a resident here. And so this is a dream come true to be able to work on all of these issues here. I love living in Somerville. I'm over by Teal Square. My husband's actually a teacher at the high school, so we're really connected to the school system too. And
who's your husband?
Mark Drago. He's a math and special ed teacher there.
Okay.
And this is just such a great community to be a part of. We get to work on such exciting challenges here, and I'm really so lucky to be able to do this day in and day out.
Excellent. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank
and
you.
I also have another guest. I have Lindsay Griffin.
Hello there.
Tell us a little bit about you.
I own a hair salon in Ball Square, Lindsay Griffin & Co., and we have been there for about 6.5 years now. I love Somerville. I love Ball Square. I've raised all our children here. We have 3 total. Oldest is graduating from Somerville High School. The middle is starting kindergarten at the Brown, and then I have the baby who still is in daycare over in Teal Square. But I love it here. I love the connection. I love the people. I knew when I was looking for places to open a business that Somerville was definitely where I wanted to have it.
Absolutely.
So glad to be a part of the community.
You know, I feel the same way. And so my teenager was at the Brown School in that big winter when we had all the snow, 2015. And when the additional collapse went over, they took all of the Brown students into another location. And as a result, there they were trying to negotiate all the time off. And what I loved was the spirit, not only of the Brown, but of all of Somerville, with all those days, just how attentive our city was to making sure that our kids were taken care of, that they were safe. And that also has inspired me to look further into just home base and really wanting to make that connection. The reason we're here today is because, as you guys may know, there's a huge hole. There's actually a few huge holes in Somerville. And as an entrepreneur, as of Somerville, you know, I'm a Latina, by the way. I just want to throw in a few little details about me. I am Latina. My parents are Colombian, so I do speak Spanish. Also, I'm letting my deaf friends know that there are no captions, but it will be. That we're going to try to add captions onto this show one way or the other, or make it accessible. But I can't keep on signing. So a little bit about me was my family. I have this amazing husband and a kid in the school systems. I live in Ball Square, and now I think this is the perfect time to kind of transition into why is there a big hole in my backyard? Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Sure. So the Green Line Extension is a project that we've been working on for decades at the local level, at the state level. It's really a long-term project as a result of the Big Dig.
Let me see if I have this right.
Yeah.
So, because we were talking about this earlier. So I clearly am a sign language interpreter, so I'm going to use my hands with this if everyone's all right. So if I understand this correctly, the way this bridge is designed is actually in slats like this. And the reason that's relevant is that if they're going to repair or move or do anything with the bridge, once you take one off, that's a hole. And if I'm not mistaken, some of the other bridges, just because of design at the time, were built as two smaller like bridges, so to speak. So I know that over in the Kenmore area, there was a lot of construction a couple years ago. They were able to remove one side of the bridge and allow limited traffic to pass through. While it was an obstacle, people could still get through. But I believe that that's not our bridge setup. We happen to be that once you remove it, it's a hole. Then on top of that, they're going to be moving structures out to make more space for the second track. And I think there's even an element of taking one train, the purple line that's there now, and moving it to another track so that they can add the green line extension, which I'm going to let Lauren tell us a little bit more about.
Exactly right. So we're getting 7 different green line stations in Somerville as
7?
a part of this process. Yes, Leechmere's moving over to our section, and then we have one in East Somerville, one in Union Square. There's actually going to be 2 branches. So one will end in Union Square, and the other one will continue through Magoon and Ball Square on into Medford.
Wow.
And so it's really exciting. And as you mentioned, we're building along the commuter rail. And so you can imagine how complicated that is to have a live construction site along a live commuter rail. Hence all of the headaches with construction, unfortunately, needing to have the space to move everything out, keep people safe, and the actual structure of a very old bridge.
I do want to do a shout out to Mark Niedergang, because he was, from what I understand, I didn't get to see him at my doorstep, but apparently he was going door to door. He put up flyers. He was making sure that people knew what was going on. I will say that as a parent in that neighborhood with a high schooler who walks to school, while the traffic isn't heavy, there's just a lot more trucks coming down our very little roads.
It's going to be a great project. I think the end result is that everyone is going to have so much more access to transit. It's going to be a huge, huge help in our goals related to traffic congestion and sustainability and sustainable transit modes. It'll really increase access for so many people in the city. But unfortunately, we're at the moment where it's the headache part. It's the construction sites, not just in Ball Square, but the Washington Street underpass near Union Square is also facing a closure. In addition to the Gilman Square Medford Street Bridge, which will be shutting down in a couple of days on May 17th, 2019.
Okay. And we want to just do a shout out to all those neighborhoods. We know that Somerville is very densely populated. We have a lot of people, a lot of construction. I do like all of the growth that's been happening, but with growth does come some pain. So I just want to give a little love to everyone out there. I know that Ball Square is not alone by any means in these struggles, but that that we're all, that's why we're here, right?
Yeah,
is to come here and say, hey, we want to make sure that Ball Square is remembered, that they're at the top of your list, and that we're allowing Ball Square to thrive, as well as the areas around you. We talked a little bit about, I have my notes here, that's why I keep looking over. We talked about the benefits, but let's talk a little bit about transportation. I know that there's been maybe some lack of clarity about what transportation is available right now.
Yes, absolutely. And so unfortunately, because of the bridge having to be entirely closed, that means that there's detours for pedestrians, for cars, for everybody. It's a real inconvenience and particularly difficult for people with mobility challenges. The city has, thanks in part to the leadership of our city councilors like Mark Niedergang, implemented a shuttle that runs the course of the detour. And so those stations, right now they've started with 2 stations, but we'll soon be moving to 4 stations in the next few weeks. And those stops are in Powderhouse Square, in front of sort of the Soundbites, Sassafras, La Optique area, right in the heart of Ball Square. And then on the other side, on Broadway and Cedar, and then further up in Magoon Square at the CVS in Magoon Square. And the shuttle.
So that's a lot to remember. How are we gonna, did you say that there's some technology that's coming around the corner?
There is.
All right.
So as we are finalizing the stops, we've been doing a little bit of testing to see how it's been going so far. We're gonna have more permanent signage. An app actually will be available as well, so you'll be able to see that on the signs. And that'll give you a sense of when the shuttle's coming. And we've had pretty good ridership so far, definitely room for improvement, but usually there's an opportunity for the shuttle driver to stop somewhere that's convenient to you. It's not as rigid as the bus, so we encourage people to take that opportunity, that resource that's available to them.
Yeah, and what we want to do is just make sure it's clear, this is a shuttle that is to bridge the gap, right?
Exactly.
Fundamentally.
Yeah.
So this shuttle is not in place of a bus. It's just allowing people on one side of the bridge construction to be able to make it to the other, and it's doing it in a continuous loop. And like you said, with this new technology, shortly we should have an app that also is going to allow you to predict where the bus is, when the bus is, and now there's going to be 4 confirmed stops. I know that your office is likely collecting that information, so definitely we should have people reaching out and making sure that they're just, if there's anything that needs to be known, that they let your office know.
Yes.
Fabulous. And so that was the pilot program that we're just ending now, right?
Yes, so now we're doing a little bit more testing with the new stops. We were just talking to you about exploring potential new hours. Yeah. Right now the shuttle runs weekdays from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., but it sounds like there might be opportunity to explore shifting those depending on the ridership, and we've been collecting it. Right now in the middle of the day is really when we get the most ridership, but we'll be sort of monitoring it as we go and making tweaks to make sure it's as helpful as possible.
Lindsay, do you have some how does this impact your business? What have you heard happening in the square?
So for what I've been getting feedback, at least from Ball Square businesses, is weekdays are definitely a lot slower. Collectively, a lot of the businesses are down 20 up to 30% during the week. Saturdays and Sundays have been slightly slower, but not that bad of an impact. But it's to the point now when you cross Broadway, and sometimes you don't even really need to look either way because there's no traffic flow, which is scary. And I think we need to really make sure residents know what's going on and let them know that they can still come to us. There's ways around. There's the shuttle. The breakfast spots Saturday morning when I get to the salon, the lines are usually super, super long, 45 minutes to an hour. There's now not much of a line at any of them. Right. So it's been huge.
And so what we've done so far is we've looked at the construction that's happening. We knew that there would be an impact, so there was a lot of attention being brought, but it's not in everyone's circle. So we're definitely trying to just make sure people are aware. This is at least a 10-month program moving forward from here for our square alone. And so, throughout this, the reason we're here together is to say to you, we would like you to put Ball Square at the top of your list for things that are coming up. We're going to continue to talk a little bit more about the businesses that are there, but I just want to be clear, why are we here today and why are you checking out AskJO? Because this is our community, and I was talking to them about there have been other bigger stores that have tried to come in, but Somerville is so unique with all of the different aspects of our community, the diversity, the artist side, the what is the phrase that we're using? We're using loyal.
Loyal to local.
Okay, spell that out for us. So that's hashtag.
Loyal letter number 2 local. So loyal to local.
Loyal to local, and that's, I think, it's at the heart of who we are here in Somerville. Are we Somervillans? Somervillians?
Somervillans, I think.
Somervillans, yeah. And so I think that's very much moving here, being a part of this. I'm actually celebrating almost 20 years here in Somerville, and that's very much local, and we're seeing that commerce come up, even over by the Armory, how much that has changed. And so it's really just about putting it into our minds and thinking about the businesses that are out there. But I also want to tie in that the businesses don't stand alone. The reason I'm here is actually because I'm an entrepreneur, and I also know that there are schools in that area. And so I'm trying to take in from the neighborhood approach, how can we bring people on board and bring them out? I believe this particular show also goes into Cambridge High and some of our other neighboring cities. So if you're out there, it's not to say that there isn't any parking or that it's impossible to get to us, but what we're actually saying is that there's some remedies in there for people who are getting within the within our structure, within our area, but that actually we want your business and we want you to think of Ball Square first. We are also coming up on the summertime, and so we have some events coming up. Why don't we talk a little? We have plenty of time, ladies, just so you know. So we're gonna, actually, before we go into events, why don't we talk about some cards? Why don't you go first, and we're gonna just, I was there in the square today. I had lunch. And so while I was there, I definitely grabbed some, paperwork, because I think it's important to remember that this is not just about some random stores. That there is a lot of really great spaces in there, and there's a lot to do. There's actually, you can get a lot done in Ball Square.
That's true.
So actually, I'm going to start with, actually, before we go here, Jeff, is there anything else on your mind right now? We still have 40 minutes, so I don't want to feel like we're being rushed in any way.
I mean, I think I just really want to make sure everyone knows how much this really is impacting all of us. And I think for all the businesses to stand together, we're all trying to work on our Ball Square Business Association and just let all the residents know that we are still here, we are still open. There's actually more parking available.
More parking.
Which is a huge plus. For example, when we have new clients come, our first prompt email says, make sure you give yourself enough time, allow for parking, download the app. People are now getting to the salon like 25 minutes before their appointment and then just hanging, because it's like, oh, I thought it would take a lot longer to park. So there's actually a lot more parking available, which I've been trying to let clients know, come have your breakfast with your family. Come, it's open. There's parking spaces. The lines are not as long. Support all of our businesses.
Okay. Tell us about some of the businesses. Again, I just grabbed a bunch of cards, and we're going to talk about more businesses that are on the card.
So I have Salon Q, which is another salon right down the street from us on Broadway. I have Taco Party, vegan tacos, Ace Flooring, as well as Sound Bites.
All right. So with Salon Q, we do have a couple salons in our square, which is fantastic. I saw Carlo today. There's a little thing there. And they have a wonderful salon on the corner. We do. We have several salons.
Yeah.
It does make it a destination place. So again, you can get your hair done, right? I met Lou today at the flooring. I didn't even realize, maybe you didn't realize, that there's a flooring place there. They're doing great. They're trucking along. But you might be, again, looking for things for your home, right? And so that's another one. Now, you said you had some of this. So can you tell us about, what did you have today?
I had the tofu taco and their famous nachos.
Are they famous?
I think they're famous.
Are they delicious?
Amongst the salon, they're famous. They're delicious. It's vegan, so they make their cheese out of sunflower seeds, I believe, and jalapeno, and they have pinto beans that they make into a dip, and it's delicious. It's a burst of flavors. I love meat. I'm married to a Brazilian. We cook a lot of meat at home. But my husband even loves going in there. It's just so unique.
Yeah,
it's delicious.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, and that's important to our vegan folks. I know. I'm pretty sure Taco Party's already probably a magnet on your
Yes,
fridge.
it's true.
But I just got excited about all that all together. And then you were talking about the line out the door. We know, and a lot of folks already know. But it is worth reminding us that that is a destination place. We do have sound bites out there. But that, we also have the Ball Square Cafe. There's a lot of really great True Grounds.
Kelly's.
Right? Kelly's. We have a lot of really great breakfast places. We're like the little nook of breakfast places, aren't we?
Yes.
You can get a ton of coffee and lots of pancakes.
Yeah.
And I think that's just important because, again, and it's not just the weekends, but if someone's coming in for that graduation during the week, it's just a really great place to just keep in mind. And right now, the lines are a little shorter, but given the expanse of our reach today,
for sure.
I can't promise that it will be. And so you've got a couple on your...
Yeah, absolutely. So to your point about being able to get a lot done in Ball Square, Skyline Dry Cleaner is an institution. They've been there for a long time. John is great. They offer a lot of resources for people getting their dry cleaning done. And then Princess Nails as well. I mean, a lot of these sort of errands, whether it's the salon day, getting your hair done, doing your nails, or whether it's just sort of getting through the dry cleaning, Ball Square is such a resource to our community for all of these things that it provides. And then Lindell's, of course, I think is just a Somerville staple. We have a lot of Lindell's in the office. It can be very tempting and very challenging at times. I'm not kidding. I had a Lindell's cupcake this morning because someone brought them in just because. But I mean, Lindell's has been around for so long, and they're just really the kind of business that people have a lot of memories of. I've heard so many people talk about their childhood eating treats from Lindell's, and that's really what makes Somerville special. It's where a community is fostered. So
The black and white cookie.
yes,
Cannolis. cakes. I mean, yum, yum, and yum, right?
Exactly.
Their donuts are delicious as
Oh,
well.
I haven't had the donuts from there.
They're good.
So I spoke with Lori this morning from Amal Nicoli, and there is a salon there as well. So we have three, is it three salons?
Yes,
Three
there's
salons.
3. Yep.
Plenty of seats, come on out. But as well, she has Ken Kodo, which is a massage place, and it's a path to health, and they're right next door to each other, because I've been looking for massage right around the corner, and I have to admit, I have not been there, but this is on my list of places to go. And so here's just this beautiful brochure of, oh, let's see what they've got. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
So Swedish massage, deep tissue, fusion massage. I want to know what that is. Oh, they have lymphatic drainage massage. That's very, very relevant, very
Yeah.
important these days. And then there's extensions and curling. Oh, it's just makeup, waxing, full service. So again, it's things that you can plan. As you can see here, we just love all the businesses, and we want to make sure that we're allowing it to thrive. I am also going to say that we have 2 dry cleaners, which is the Somerville Cleaners. Van and her family run it, and so it's right next to Stinky's. Stinky's and Stinky's
kitties, and dogs too.
Oh,
Pet
Stinky
Emporium.
Kitties, right, and Doggies too.
You
Pet
got it,
Emporium.
Lauren, yes.
So, and that's our friend Joanne.
Yes.
And so what do we know about that store? I don't know, do you guys know about that store? What do we know about that store?
She has a great selection of toys and tools for your cat or your dog. I myself have a dog, at least on the weekends, and we've bought things at her store. She also does grooming and cat sitting, so a variety of resources there. And she will be participating at upcoming events too. She works a lot with an organization called Second Chances that does cat adoptions. And at our Ball for Squares festival last fall,
Yes.
they have probably a dozen cats found homes because of her work with this organization. So she's just a great resource in the community.
I am looking at my computer, ladies, gentlemen, folks of all there. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, my pronouns are she, her, hers. I apologize. I try to include that at the top of everything that I do, so my apologies for not getting that there. She also, I have emails from everyone. I was trying to get some more information about different businesses. And she said that she is doing that, as well as in August there'll be another pop-up event that's going to be a cat adoption. And that if you want more information, you can contact her at MS Stinky.
Ms. Stinky.
Ms. Stinky. MSSTINKY at msn.com. And then inside the store, I was there. She's got so many awesome cat gifts. So like, I think, isn't her argument that like there's so many places and they're all for dogs? So if you have a cat and you don't know Miss Stinky, what are you doing? It's in Ball Square, and there's parking. And
Lots of parking.
Lots of parking. And do you guys know about Victor's?
Another Somerville institution.
Oh my God, they've been around forever, and
Yeah.
I gotta admit, like I kind of walked by. I will say, so my husband has celiac. I love you, babe, Mike. Don't mean to out your business, but because of that, it has shifted the way we eat. So that definitely, I kind of don't get to stand in the line with my family. Like that's not how we do it. But I went into Victor's again because I'm trying to understand more, and I'm like, it smelled delicious, and there's all this food. And their big news is that they are on Grubhub, and Uber Eats starts like next week.
I did not know
So you don't
that.
even have to leave your house, and you can have like chicken parmesan delivered to you. I thought that was amazing.
Wonderful.
That's great.
So that was from them. And then also, do you guys know about Ball Square Yoga?
Yes.
Do you mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, Yolanda has been really involved with the Ball Square Business Association, and she does yoga classes in the dance studio. And yeah, she's just great. I haven't had a chance to take a yoga class with her yet, but I imagine that they're wonderful.
Excellent. And so she sent me an email, and it said, please mention Ball Square Yoga, so Ball Square Yoga. And they're doing, they say it's open and helping people release the stress from the bridge closure. And they're only charging $5 per class, no appointment required, just walk in. And it's gentle yoga for beginners. Everyone is welcome, and they provide mats and blocks and straps and bolsters. And then you can go to ballsquareyoga.com and see their schedule. They're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays for a bunch of hours. So you should absolutely check that out. Let's see who else contacted me. Actually, we get to talk a little bit about our events coming up.
Yeah. I mean, I think on the tail of that, one thing I think is so special about Ball Square is, I mean, we just talked a lot about your competitors, and you know, there's so many breakfast places and things like that, and it's just been so special to meet with all of you and actually see you all kind of working together to get through this. That sort of collaboration I find really inspiring. I get warm and fuzzy about it, and I just hope that people at home watching sort of recognize that collaboration for what it is, that we're all in this together, and that we hope that you will also come join us in that effort to make sure our businesses are happy and healthy throughout the bridge closure and beyond. 'Cause we're working really hard to make it happen. The business owners are all working together really hard to make it happen, and we'll need your help too.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
I think people are really trying to work together. It's hard. Everyone owns a brick and mortar, excuse me, in Ball Square. You know, having the time to meet, but everyone is trying to pull together, whether it's via email or picking up the phone. We are trying to meet more frequent to put on more events in Ball Square. I mean, every single business wants to help. It's just, it's hard. You know, not everyone can make it to a meeting. Not everyone can be involved as much as they really want to be. So I hope at our next meeting we kind of collectively gather some more ideas and thoughts and come up with some more events we can host in Ball Square, whether it be a scavenger hunt that we can get the kids involved and, you know, find one thing from one store to another store, or host another, you know, event on a smaller scale, maybe like the Ball Square event where we have music or we have face painting. To get the whole family out and involved.
Well, why don't we talk about the upcoming event that is simultaneous, but let's start from your lens. What are you doing on June 15th?
June 15th, we are hosting a girls' night out. It's on our bio through our Instagram, which is Lindsay Griffin and Co. spelt out. We're going to have
ANDCO.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Joe. We are going to have tarot card readers, psychics, aura photography. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's really
tell
unique.
Us a little, you can tell us.
Of course. I'm just being silly. But it basically, through the lens, they see the aura that's around us, certain color, and the woman who's doing it is going to explain to you what that means. So hopefully I don't have a red aura around me right now. Hopefully it's pink. But that's going to be really unique. It's going to be catered towards women, you know, just getting out, having a cocktail. We're going to have a massage therapist. We're going to have crystals. We're going to have jewelry. It's just going to be a way to get out to, you know, de-stress, grab a cocktail, have a bite to eat, whether you take advantage of what's going on in there or you just hang out with your girlfriends, you know, just get out and relax. So that'll be fun.
But
everyone check that out. Yeah.
There's more. There's more. Tell us a little bit more about what's happening on June 15th. Same time frame, right?
Same time frame, yep.
So yes, so June 15th, actually there's an earlier event that day too. You can really make a whole day of Ball Square activities. So the Mayor's Jazz and Blues Festival is happening in Powderhouse Square that morning throughout the day. And then when you're done with that, from 5 to 10, there's going to be the Ball Square Night Market. And that is hosted by Somerville Flea. They do the Davis Square Flea once a weekend during the nicer months, and then they're also the people behind the very, very popular Union Square Night Market, which was just a couple of weeks ago and was a big hit as usual. And so we're so excited to be able to borrow some of that energy and get that into the square. There's going to be vendors, there'll be a band, there's going to be a beer garden.
Is it going to be closed off?
Yes, so we'll be closing it down from Willow to Boston Ave, so right up to the bridge that's already very closed. And it'll be a great opportunity to get out, hang out, visit some of these businesses. You can shop through the vendors, the craft vendors that will be there. So we're really excited. We think it's going to be a great time. A lot of the businesses are participating as well.
I have a table.
Joe will be there. We also have Joanne from Stinkies. She always... she's doing her cat adoption again as a resource for folks, but she'll also have an artist doing cat paintings. She had a similar...
What? Yeah, it's incredible.
What does that mean?
So cool. There are artists in Somerville that focus a lot on pets, and at least for the last event that we had, it was an artist that did a lot of dog portraits. And so you can bring a picture of your dog, and she'll do these beautiful, like, oil, I think, paintings of your
gorgeous.
dog.
That is so
Breathtaking.
cool.
It's like a portrait you'd expect from a queen. Like, it's really, really cool. So she'll be having that, and then as well as other specials and activities. The Ball Square Fine Wine and Liquors, they're going to do a tasting. So a lot to see and a lot of ways to support the businesses in Ball Square. And again, that's at June 15th from 5 to 10 in the square. The rain date is the following day. But yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I think it's going to get a big crowd.
And so, and that's in June, but there's actually one that happened last fall that I believe, we don't have a date yet, but there's going to be happening again this fall, right?
Yes.
And that is a ball for squares, right?
Yes.
So am I like square, like a ball for squares?
It's just, Ball Square is such a fun name for a
It
square. You can't
Great
not
oxymoron.
try to riff on it and make some sort of pun. But yes, the Ball for Squares last year was a huge event. 1,000 people more.
It's a huge turnout,
Nice.
yeah.
Huge turnout, and it was really I think the first since I've been involved with the most recent collaboration between the businesses and Ball Square. It really was a bootstrapped effort. I don't think any of us knew really what we were doing.
No, we relied on you a lot, Lauren.
So unfortunately, I was out of town. What kind, like, we have a bunch of businesses. What did they have in front of them last year? Because we don't know what they're going to do yet this year,
Yeah,
right?
well, so last year Lindell's did a whole sheet cake that people could just come grab pieces of. Hugely popular.
No
I'm
kidding.
sure everybody only took one. And then we also had the Ball Square Fine Wine and Liquors. He was doing a tasting again. Amal Nicoli, her staff was doing makeovers for kids out front, which was super cute. We had a photo booth that sort of captured the final touches for all of their makeovers with a lot of fun props. We had a band, we had a beer garden, and just a lot of the businesses out. We had some information about the construction because this was in the great days before the bridge closure, when we knew it was happening, but we were still sort of bracing ourselves. And we lucked out with the weather.
It was beautiful.
Oh, and Paperworks too. We haven't talked about them yet, but they're fabulous. And they had an artist come out who specializes in paper crafting, and she actually did activities with kids where they were making their own crafts with paper material that Paperworks had donated. And so it was just a really cool example of businesses thinking creatively, and lots of people brought their kids, and it was really a fun event.
What was happening last year for you guys?
We were still waiting on our final permit of
that's
occupancy.
So when did your official first day? When did you guys
Our
start?
official first day was October 4th.
Oh, so we're coming on an anniversary.
Yeah.
For the expansion.
Right,
Yeah.
for the expansion.
So we actually fully built a whole new salon in about 2.5 weeks. Knocked down a wall and rebuilt a salon in 2.5 weeks. So it's record timing. My husband worked till midnight. The painters worked till midnight. We gave them like cash tips every night. Like, can you stay a little longer to finish that drywall? But we literally built a whole new salon in 2.5 weeks. I feel like I have to say it 10,000 times. I still don't believe it. So we technically weren't really able to be open, but we were able to have people come in, look at the space. My husband was finishing hanging mirrors that morning, and we had some fun balloons out there, and I just got to talk to all our community. Yeah. It was a fun day. I remember calling you and being like, "Is there any way to move that truck over a little because it's in front of the salon?"
Oh, and it just looked so great. And I know we were hoping that it would be completely open at the time, but
and it happens.
What a special opportunity to celebrate. I mean, when you talked about your timeline for the renovation, I was a little nervous because we definitely see other businesses, it takes so much longer than you expect.
So I am grateful. I'm very, very grateful that we did what we did.
And it looks so great. It looks
Thank
phenomenal.
you.
And I think this is also a great example of how, I mean, we are all working together.
For sure,
And so the city has to be a part of it, but also you're trying to get your business launched. So I have to imagine that there's going to be an October 1st something this year. So you guys need to take a look at that. But I do want to talk about an event that you and I are planning.
Yes.
So that's next Monday. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
I feel like you kind of got more of the gist on that than me. I'm going to let you take the lead.
That's okay. And somebody's been on vacation. What?
My lovely tan.
So
Can you tell?
And so what we were talking about, like trying to do something where we bring people out, and this is new to all of us, right? So we're having a blast, and the crew, by the way, is amazing. Hello, crew. You guys are awesome. And we want to extend this out to you guys too. You don't have to be a Ball Square resident. You don't have to be a Ball Square business, but in your heart, if you love Ball Square and you're like, oh my gosh, we need to, and again, I know that Ball Square is not the only square that's struggling right now in Somerville. So if it's the Washington Street corridor, or if
Magoon
it's
Square.
Union Square right now is going through a lot. Magoon Square, oh my gosh, we haven't even talked about Magoon Square.
Magoon Square, yeah, they're
Magoon
also
Square
affected.
is impacted. I mean, we're going to take a little dip before we get back up to the excitement. But again, it's about putting the squares at the top of our minds, thinking about them when we're planning. If you're going to have a lunch, if you're going to have a little birthday party, if you're going to do stuff, you know, maybe you have your go-to places, but like, there's so many wonderful businesses right now. I mean, we haven't even talked. I mean, I know this is about Ball Square, but Magoon Square,
but it's
Daddy Jones, the float is out there. There's a lot of also Brazilian markets, and so I'm
Modelos,
hoping to get to go around and do this again. Like I said, I've been literally, you know, strolling around, getting cards, talking to people, and maybe we can find a partnership also with Magoon to get their word out, so that people can feel like, oh, right, I had not even thought about that, right? So in that spirit, we just had a conversation about, well, why don't we go out and eat somewhere? And so we have the House of Kebab, is right on Broadway, right across the street from Ball Square Liquors and Sound Bites. And so they have, I wish I had a picture of it, but I did bring their menu. So
well
this is
prepared.
their, right?
Yes.
I am very well prepared. Well, I
Yes.
wanted to be able to talk about things. So what they did is they used to have a buffet at lunchtime, but because of the impact of the bridge closing, they had to reconfigure what they did. And what they created was literally, it looks like a lunch tray, right? And when you look at on my site, or if you find us on Eventbrite or the meetup, and I'll get out some of that information in a moment. But at AskJO.org, my first thing is this event that we're planning next Monday. They seat about 40 to 45 people, and it's a $10 meal with tax, tips, and gratuity. It comes out to $12 for everything for them. I have it on Eventbrite. There's a vegetarian one, and there's a chicken one. And in that comes, let me tell you, because it was amazing. So like, again, can you imagine yourself in a cafeteria with the metal
Little
tray
tray.
and the holes? So I just couldn't even believe, I brought food home. I was so amazed. So they had this veggie pakora, which is chickpeas battered with cheese, with tempered chickpea battered vegetable balls. So it's this wonderful little crispy, and so for those people who have celiac but who can't really do a lot of gluten, chickpea flour, no wheat in it, no. So that was amazing. Then there was the delicious rice that they always have, right, and 2 pieces of naan, and then on this side's a little salad, really cute. And then there's 3 proteins. So sag paneer, which is spinach with the cheese, and then I had the chicken one. So there was a chicken. Oh, you see, this is where I need this. What's funny is I wrote it all down, but then now I have this, and I want to. They usually put tiki masala, but they didn't. Today was a. What is that one called? Oh no. Korma. That's it, the chicken korma.
Okay.
And then they had a chili chicken, and there was a piece of a kebab on there. Like for $12 next Monday, come have dinner with us. It's gonna include everything. We're not even handling money. Literally, everyone comes. We're not gonna have separate checks. We're gonna do it from 5:30 to 6. It's just like, I call it registration, but really you're gonna come in, maybe a name tag. It's family friendly, so anybody can come. There's no alcohol. It includes that enormous thing, and for the chicken pieces, they sub it out for veggie, so they have a cauliflower dish and a chickpea dish. It includes dessert, so you can pick rice pudding or, hang on a second, let me see if I want to get it right. Gulab jamun, which is deep fried cottage cheese balls soaked in cardamom rose syrup.
Wow.
Or you can have rice pudding, and you get chai.
All right.
Like, that's just crazy.
That's a deal.
And that is like a deal. And so I went and had this deal for lunch today. And I mean, when this came out, it just smelled so good. I could only eat half of it. I was like, oh. So I left it at home for my teenager. And
Perfect.
and so that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing on Monday.
Yeah.
And so if you sign up with our Eventbrite, you'll be able to come join us for lunch and for dinner. And it's like I said, it's family friendly. I'd say if you have little ones, you could get one plate and have a little one pick off of there. There's actually plenty of food.
Yeah.
And the goal for us is really just to get together and kind of continue this conversation. You may be I know, that's where I want to go into the entrepreneur world. You might be a family or a neighbor. Maybe you go to the Brown School, or is it the West Somerville that's down the road, or you are local to us. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're always looking for that new square that you're able to invest your local dollars into. But we want people to come out because the goal is just to keep spreading the word so that people know what's out there, especially 10 months is a long time. But the reason I turned to Lauren for a second is that the city does have a Somerville entrepreneur, is it a network? All right, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So this is an initiative that my department with the city hosts with the Somerville Public Library. And essentially once a month we host an event where entrepreneurs can get together. And there's always a speaker or something on the agenda. But honestly, the speaking ends up being pretty short. People sort of get food and chat and talk about each other's challenges and issues. And it's really cool. We've only been doing it for about 1.5 years so far, but we've had a lot of repeats. And those people, I think, have really started to connect with each other. And it's amazing because in my line of work, I tend to work more with the brick and mortars. And so having this opportunity to meet the home-based businesses, I mean, you and I only met a week ago or
business.
so.
Are you a home-based business? So where can we find that information, and where's the next meeting?
So I think the easiest way is to Google Somerville Entrepreneur Network. Once you do that, you'll see all of our different events pop up for the Eventbrites. And once you register for one, we'll keep you on the email newsletter, so you'll get updated on the future events. And the next one is going to be May 22nd from 6 to 8, and that's going to be focused on really retailers and how to grow your sales. So if you're an e-commerce business, if you're selling something online, and I bet services too would get a lot out of it as well, but that'll be the focus for the next meeting. And then we'll have a couple more before we'll take a break for the summer. But it really is a great network and a community of people that we're building. Anybody is welcome. We order pizza. It's a nice, calm time. We host it at the Somerville Public Library at the main branch, which is on 89 Highland Ave. And yeah, we would love to see everybody there. It's a great community, and it helps me get to know people a little bit better as well.
That's great. So if you are an entrepreneur, if you have a home-based business, if you're living in Somerville, this is also, again, a great place to come together because while like Lindsay has a brick and mortar, there's a lot of us out there that don't necessarily have it. This is my office, so welcome to my office. You know, this is my office. My office is wherever I go. And I think that there is, I mean, I'm coming into it, so certainly you may have your connections in your community, but for me, I'm coming in and trying to make those connections with brick and mortars, trying to build that network. And so the Ball Square efforts are not solely about the brick and mortar. They're actually about us. We're looking for help planning events and marketing and trying to get the word out. I mean, there's a lot of ideas, but you know, we need to all come together, and that includes our home-based businesses. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
It is very exciting. We still have a little bit of time, so I'm just checking my schedule here. Oh, there was a couple things we haven't looked at, and we talked about, did I finish talking about Monday? I'm all over the place. So I want to just finish talking about Monday. So we have an Eventbrite. It's from 5:30 to 7:30. At 5:30, you come in, register. We're going to have an activity. It's at the House of Kebab. You can have food that is dairy-free. You can have wheat-free, but not gluten-free, like that kind of limit of precision. So if you have some issues, we also have a way for you to come to the event and just get a drink or something. It's $12 plus whatever Eventbrite charges, so it's super affordable. And it really is open to everyone. So if you have your own business or brick and mortar, or if you're impacted by any of these closings, come on out and join us, because we just want to have the conversation, get to know people. And where I want to go with this too is that there may be a couple different organizations that kind of stem from our efforts. So for me personally, I'm looking at the network with the neighborhood and independent contractors or entrepreneurs. and also the brick and mortars in Ball Square. I know that the brick and mortars in Ball Square also have a business side, and was looking to try to bring the businesses together, and that might include some of us in some
Absolutely,
ways
yeah.
versus others.
Yeah.
I know that the city is also making efforts to do that, and so, you know, coming together, I think, is really important because a lot of people might only think that it's one thing or the other, but the reality is that we all have to work together. We all have our own charge, our own way of doing things. You know, the state has their own, you know, and the city has their own rules. Everything is growing, everyone is busy, and so, you know, we just need more hands on deck to help us
Amen.
really deal, right? Really deal with it.
And I think it helps too because different businesses are really affected differently by the bridge closure. I know of one business that, weirdly enough, in the hype around the bridge closure, actually saw their sales increase a little bit, which is miraculous, and definitely not everybody. But and then we were talking too about the differences between a restaurant or coffee shop that really relies on that pass-through traffic, that convenience factor, versus someone who has an appointment with a hairdresser that they really are attached to. And so when you do all of this great work to foster these connections, I think it really helps people play out to each other's strengths too. If you're talking to your community beyond the square because you're a home-based business that has a big network in a lot of different places, and you're promoting that, it really helps where Lindsay's going to have her particular customer set too. So it's really exciting to me to see folks like you in the community and folks like you working together to bring in people, because I think it's really, really powerful when these different types of business find ways to collaborate with each other.
It's been really cool so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I think that the other piece is that it can be you. So maybe you're looking at, you know, developing your business and trying to find a location. I mean, here you know that Lindsay just expanded hers, and maybe you have some questions. You know, for me, in the last couple of years, I have been building my business. I've worked for companies, I've worked for organizations. I'm actually a sign language interpreter, as people know, and I call it, I'm powered by Twisted Networking. So I just want to say that I do run a networking event in Davis Square at the Saloon, and the next one's on the 21st. So next week is actually really busy. You do not have to do a lot of shopping because you'll come out to Indian food on Monday night and come and meet with us. And then on Tuesday night, if you're looking for somewhere to network your business, you can come to Twisted. And then on Wednesday, we have the Entrepreneur Network. It's actually a very
busy week.
It's a very busy week, and you don't have to cook. So that's what we're doing for you. And in that growth and in learning, really trying to understand what it does take to have a successful business. And that's kind of the underlying for me is trying to make sure that we all know how to make that better. And the way that happens is with connections. And so many of you didn't know me before, you didn't know us, maybe you'd heard of things or kind of saw something. But at the base of this, it's all about those connections. And I hope that you do, we're not wrapping up quite yet, we still have a little bit of time left, but that you're thinking about ways that you can go there, and tell them that Joe sent you. You know, as much as possible, so they'll be like, who's this Joe right now? I've actually been making myself known. But that, yeah, the collaboration is amazing, and who knows what that's going to bring. I find it very exciting, and I do want to acknowledge that there's women here on our panel, and that, you know, there's a lot of power there, and there's a lot of connection and knowledge, and we need to be connected and talking to each other. And supporting each other and bringing each other up. And so it's been a blessing so far to just even start down this route. There are other businesses in our area that I don't want to forget. So we didn't get the comprehensive list, but there is another liquor store, Crawley's.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Great
Corner.
spot.
Yeah,
Lots to
great
choose
spot.
from.
Lots of really great wines.
Yeah.
And there's a new space opening in what used to be Pescadores, right?
Avenue.
Avenue.
Detroit-style pizza and a bar.
Detroit-style pizza. I don't even know what that means. What
I
is
don't
Detroit?
either.
Detroit-style pizza.
I'm
Oh,
excited to
can't
find out
wait.
when they open.
And so
And
then
they're
we know-
opening soonish, I
Oh, really?
believe.
Yeah. So we have Kelly's,
Kelly's,
Yes.
and then the pub. Is it called the pub?
It is the pub. And
That's
if
what
you're
I
in
thought.
Somerville, you know exactly what people are talking
pub.
about. And they'll actually be doing our beer garden for the night market too. So
Nice.
if you've never been there, that'll be a great time to check it out.
So I'm just trying to think. And then, I had an email from someone, Dr. Chris Cordina.
Oh, yes, yep.
Cordima, and he said that he's been helping people in Somerville and the local area since 1988, and that the first office was on Beacon Street and Somerville for 5 years, and here in Ball Square for 26 years. Wow.
Wow.
And treating chronic severe conditions such as peripheral neuropathy, disc pathologies like bulging discs and herniated discs. And he's been there too. And so this obviously has an impact on him, I'm sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, so just throwing into that. And he's that next one. And then, oh, I know who I'm missing. The glasses.
La Optique Boutique,
Yes,
Carol.
Yes.
Carol, thank you.
She has the coolest glasses.
There's
She
some really
has the
funky
coolest
ones in
glasses.
there. Yeah.
We were talking about puns for ball of square recently too, and I confess it like took me a minute before I understood it. But she has the glasses that are circular on one side
yes.
and square on the other.
Yes.
It's like a joke about ball square.
Oh my gosh. You know
love
what? I
that.
didn't get the whole ball square till just this moment. I'm like, oh my, yeah.
Maybe you would have seen the glasses and figured it out faster than I did.
Yeah, I'm trying to find her. So I don't know why I can't. Maybe she put me.
Yeah, she's great. She's been selling accessories recently too, scarves and things like that. So she's just wonderful.
4 years in the
Yes.
square. She moved from Newton. She does specialty, which is unique custom eyewear and premium prescription lenses. And she hosts designer trunk shows.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's really
great.
fun. Yeah.
She's
And she's another woman-owned business.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I love it. And the trunk shows allow her to exhibit a full eyewear and sunglass collection. That's so cool.
That's great.
Man, there's a lot of really cool. So, all right. So Kelly's and
The pub.
the doctor, the pub, her eyeglass place. Sassafras, I'm not sure what's going on, but that was another vegan location. His website's still up, and so definitely we want to make sure we're paying attention to that. On the other side is Paper Source. We
Paperwork.
also-
Paperwork, yes,
Paperworks,
yes,
thank you,
yep, yep, of
Paperworks. We
course.
also have a Century 21 new coming into there, and there's an insurance location. We have Taco Party. And then we have True Grounds, which we already spoke
Yeah.
of as well.
Yeah.
There's the nail salon. We have Ball Square Liquors, Q. I'm trying to think of all the
You're
little
doing a
places.
great
I know,
job.
you
Yeah,
did a good job.
I've been wandering
You've been
about a little bit.
walking.
But we haven't gone. We have to keep going. So.
Yeah.
Amal, Nicole, we have, what is the dance space called? Mary,
Mary Flynn.
Yeah.
Mary
right?
Flynn.
And then there's a convenience store, and we have a bunch of
Cups
attorneys
Convenience.
in our area.
Yep.
And we also don't want to forget that around the corner, there's a lot of new industry happening on the way to that garage. There's a gas station over on Boston Ave, and there's like a little
Oh,
convenience
yes.
store in there.
Medford.
And then, yeah, just keeping in mind that we also have Magoon Square that's going on. So as you can see, like you can eat, you could drop off your dry cleaning, you know, get something to eat, get your nails done. Around the corner is a full-service gas station. Like that's how sometimes I plan my day. I'm like, how can I leave my car in one place and get as much done as possible? And it's very chill right now. We have covered a lot of ground.
We have.
Absolutely.
Don't you think we covered a lot of
Yeah.
ground? So let's see where we're coming. We're coming. We got about 3 minutes left, so we want to
wow.
make sure. I know, right? So imagine this is us just trying to kind of go with it, but at Indian Food, we'll be definitely a lot fuller, and we want to hear from you about your businesses. I would love to know more about what's your favorite place in Ball Square. I don't know. Do you guys have ball? I mean. Already there's so many Ball Square memories for so many people. I want to talk a little bit about social media.
Yes.
So I know that we have ballsquaresomerville.com. And so right now that is owned and has some general information about the Green Line extension and pictures as well. And so we're hoping to help that get more
Yes.
populated with information.
Yep.
I believe there is an Instagram. Is that also Ball Square Somerville? Correct?
Yep.
I know that at the city, rather at the state level, we have the GLX, right? So the Green Line Extension, right? GLX. So if you're wondering about what's going on with that in terms of timelines, and there's a lot of timelines, you know, so this is only one aspect. There are a couple of other bridges. You said that the one over in Medford
Gilman Square,
Yeah.
Medford Street and Gilman Square.
Yeah,
Yes.
is going to be going into its own construction phase. And on top of the Green Line extension, we also have just other works that are happening. Union Square is going through a lot. Lots of love, Union Square.
Yeah.
There, is it, you say sewer?
Sewer separation, yes. So it'll end up helping 85% of the toilets in Somerville, but
Woo!
a little less glamorous than a new train station.
You know, and that's what I love about our city.
Mm-hmm.
We have events coming up. I have my website called AskJO. I'm powered by Twisted Networking. And what's your website? Just a
LindsayGriffin.com.
LindsayGriffin.com.
We also have our own app too. If people are interested in booking, you can download the app. It's just Lindsay Griffin Co.
All right.
Yeah.
And the city of Somerville.
Yes, somervillema.gov/GLX for anything related to GLX construction. And then you can also email me directly at ldrago@somervillema.gov. I'm happy to connect with you about questions for construction or support for businesses in general.
Excellent. And I'm checking with my people on time. I think we're starting to come to the end. I want to thank you so much. We got 1 whole minute. I want to thank you guys so much for coming to join us to watch a little bit about what I'm calling Ball Square Thrive.
I love
Maybe
it.
you know, instead of like Saturday Night Live,
Yes.
like Ball Square Thrive.
I love it.
And so I'm AskJO, and I came to you as a neighbor. I've come to you as a business. I come to you as a mom and as part of this neighborhood. And I have to say that when I moved to Somerville, I knew that it was going to be amazing. So I look forward to seeing you at AskJO.org. Have a great night. Oh, but there might be more.